Hillary Ladd here with Recherche Organics. How are you ladies today? I wanted to come on real quick and talk to you a little bit about clay masks. That is the overarching theme of our video today. Recherche Organics has 3 different masks that you'll find for sale on our website. We have a Cambrian blue clay, we have a French pink clay, and we have a French green clay mask. All of them have a little bit different properties in them as far as botanical ingredients, so they're used a little bit differently. But first, let's kind of take it back and talk about why would we even use a mask in the first place. So overarchingly, a mask is used to shrink pore size over time. It pulls deep kind of makeup, grime, dirt from your skin. It is gently exfoliating. So those 3, regardless of what mask you choose, each mask has that as its properties regardless. Let's first talk about our Cambrian blue clay. In it, just like it mentions, it has Cambrian blue clay. That is a really lovely, beautiful clay that is kind of a gray silver in color. It has silver ions in it, which is actually why it is the color that it is. Those silver ions are known to pull toxins to help detoxify the skin. It also has white kaolin clay, which is the most gentle of all clay types. You'll see this is the type of clay that is used to make fine china. So it doesn't have, it's not super gritty, it's very, very fine in nature. It is very white, light clay. Actually, all of our masks have that kaolin clay in it as a base that we add then its specialty clay too. The Cambrian blue clay also has blue spirulina in it. Now, why do we add this? Recherche as a whole is very interested in how do you feed your skin. So not only do we want to cleanse and detoxify and shrink those pores, but we also want to go ahead and get in there and then add nutrients back into our skin, right? And so blue spirulina has A, D, E, and K vitamins in it. And then it just has all of these tiny little micronutrients that you find because it is an oceanic ingredient. So any skin type can use this. It is very gentle in nature. Sometimes people will find if they have heavy toxins in their skin, the silver ions can pull quite a bit at first, but your skin very much gets used to it. But it is very gentle in nature, and that is not an experience that very many people have, it being overly detoxing, right? Second, let's go to our French pink clay. So our French pink clay here is, I would go ahead and say it's probably the most gentle of the 3. It has French pink clay, as stated. Like I said a few minutes ago, it also has that kaolin clay in it. And then it has dragon fruit. So dragon fruit also has all of these botanical micro-ingredients that are going to feed your skin. It's full of antioxidants, which is the reason that we put it into this formulation. And this is a very gentle one. When you put it on, you'll see it's a nice rose color. It'll turn to white, which all of ours do once they dry. You'll have just a white sheen on your face. And then last but not least, let's talk about our French green clay. Our French green clay, this is the one that if you're acne prone is probably the one to use. So like all of the others, it is going to shrink pore size, it's going to gently exfoliate, it's going to pull dirt, grime, all the things from your skin. But it also, it's coupled with matcha, that is the botanical ingredient in here, which can be drying for people's skin who have by nature dry skin, right? So if you have very dry skin, this one isn't for you. Either use our pink or our blue. But if you are acne prone, you have oily skin, kind of that heavy, always kind of shine to your skin, this is going to be your go-to. Like I said, it is a little more drying than the others. So it has French green clay in it, and then it has matcha, which is also full of antioxidants, full of kind of those ingredients that are going to pull, detoxify, dry out. So the last part of this video, what I want to do is kind of go through and show you how to apply a mask. I use the same, looks kind of dirty, right? Sorry. I use the same bowl over and over because what I don't want to do is waste what I'm using. Today I'm going to use the Cambrian blue clay. So after every time I do a mask, and I'm doing a mask about every 10 to 12 days. That's about how often I do it. I'm not a fan of over exfoliation. And then after I'm done, I just let it sit and dry out. And then the next time come back, add more water, and I'm done. So I'm gonna add about that much into it. And I'm gonna, when I come in and add water, I'm gonna add not quite equal parts, but maybe about. Some people like a really thick clay. Others want it a little bit more watery, and that's really up to you. I'm kind of a fan of the in-between. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. I made mine a little too soupy. Let's see here. So I like it to where it's a consistency that it's gonna kind of, when I put my finger into the bowl, it's gonna stick and stay to it. That it's not just like a real light watery look, but it's also not a super heavy paste. If I have places, say I have a breakout or a pimple or something, I may go ahead and take a little bit more thick, something like that. I just scoop the edges and I would put it, and do almost like a spot treatment or whatever that looks like, because that is going to, as it dries, is gonna pull even more, okay? So let me just go through. And I had a question not too long ago that one of you put onto, I think it was emailed to me actually, that you were talking about having a T-zone, and would I maybe put a green, I'm just gonna add just a tiny bit more. Would I use the green clay in my T-zone and then either a pink or a blue on the outside? It's not a terrible idea, not at all. Do I do that? No, but you could. So if if in this zone, or maybe it's just your forehead that you get acne or acne on your cheeks, and then everywhere else is kind of that you don't, that's not a terrible idea whatsoever to do. Don't forget that jawline. That's something that's kind of sometimes overlooked, right? Come down. And so then what happens here is you're just gonna have to wait with me for a couple minutes, right? As this dries. I'm gonna rinse off my hand here. And as it dries, it's gonna begin to dry. It's also gonna become white and flaky, okay? So you can see it's still pretty wet right now. So it's doing its job. It's going in, and as it starts to dry, it's going to pull all of the stuff from inside of my pores out. And at that point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come and we're gonna use gentle circles to take it off. The clay by nature is just lightly exfoliating, and that's again why we use a base of the kaolin clay, because it's good for all skin types. When you have too gritty or too big of individual pieces of clay, it ends up being, it's over exfoliating. It'll dry your skin, it'll irritate your skin, it feels rather harsh. It doesn't feel silky smooth. And so that is not what we're going for here. We want that very gentle, you almost don't recognize it's exfoliating, because when we exfoliate, what we're hoping is it just takes off that very topmost layer of our epidermis. Our epidermis works like this. Long story short, let's do that, right? In the dermis, we have all of the layers of our skin, and they kind of come up as they age through the dermis into the epidermis, and finally become our very top layer. So at one point, the top layer of skin was here at the bottom, and that's how our skin is constantly in regeneration. Well, by the time that it comes into the very top layers of our epidermis, what we see is that by nature, what it's supposed to do is become flaky, become dry. This is our very most external layer to the outside world. And our skin, if not taken care of, if we don't get that layer off, becomes kind of dull looking, just not so youthful, not so lustrous, right? So what we want to do is just take off the dead top layer. And once we get that off, we have younger, more vibrant, more youthful, glowing skin underneath. All right, so you can see this is starting to turn white. I still have a couple areas here that are not fully dried. If I were doing this on my own, like I usually take a Sunday and do this, is what I would do is I would wait till it's fully dry. But for the sake of y'all's time, I'm gonna go ahead and wash it off right now. Just grab this little doodad here. So warm water. And again, we're gonna come in and we're gonna use circular motions, right? And we're just gonna come in and gently, 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 real careful under that under eye skin. And what you'll notice over time, if you're doing this, pretty frequently, a few times a month, or if you have more acne-prone skin or more oily skin, you can definitely use masks more often. I tend to have a little bit drier skin than that. But is what you'll notice over time is that it does shrink your pore size, gets rid of blackheads, gets rid of whiteheads, and keeps that constantly, that nice fresh skin up to the surface. All right, let's see here. You can see that blood flow is definitely going to my skin. That's how come it's red, is because with that gentle motion, what's happening is it's making fresh blood come into my cells. It's being kind of like excited. And that's what you want. You want that nice rosy look afterwards, but that doesn't happen because we're doing it super rough or hard on our skin. We're not doing that. It's very gentle, circular motions. Every time after I do a mask, it is absolutely imperative that you are going to come through, and your next step is going to be whatever you use for a moisturizer. But we do want to come in kind of re-lock in some moisture, because what you'll recognize is while your face feels very soft and very, very clean, especially if you tend towards dry skin at all, you're going to want to use a moisturizer. All right, this is a long video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.